All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Come Get Some, the Dave Matthews Band. News, notes, and whatever kind of crap we feel like talking about. Rips and Chewie here again with another fantastic episode, or so we'd like to think at least. Thank you for watching. We've got a lot of views on our last video, so we appreciate the...
Thanks, Ma.
We appreciate the love. This was supposed to be, last week we kind of left you with a come tomorrow preview, kind of talking a little bit about the tour that was going to start this weekend, and boy, did it ever. But obviously, since we've left last, we've got some other news related to the band. Now, obviously, we touched a little bit about accusations made on Boyd back in 2015 by, what's his name, Andrew Rothenberg. Embezzled a lot of money from Boyd, so you never know whether that's true or not. He made allegations on Boyd about the same kind of stuff that we just heard about, kind of chasing after young men. He's got a certain kind of sexual predator thing going on, a dark side that needed to be uncovered, but that kind of got thrown away in court. It was really never talked about. In fact, I really didn't even know too much about it until he left the band for his hiatus in February, and those kind of things came out, like the court documents and stuff like that. So we did find out just last Thursday, a day before the band was set to take the stage in Woodlands, Texas, that James Frost-Wynn, former Crystal Garden trumpet player, and I didn't even realize they had a trumpet player. When I saw Crystal Garden, it was only Boyd and the three other guys.
Crystal Meth Garden? What?
Crystal, yeah, man, listen. James Frost-Wynn filed a lawsuit on May 17th, day before the tour opener, looking for $9 million, basically accusing Boyd of being a sexual predator. Now, some of the things that we've heard, I'm not going to go too far into it, but Boyd definitely requested to wear the guy's dirty socks. I saw somebody post something about getting a shirt that says "I love dirty socks." Listen, as much as it's, I mean, some of this stuff is almost comical. You can never almost think that this would be coming from somebody from the Dave Matthews Band, but
maybe he covers his violin
with the you know what, you never know.
It may not be dirty at all. Maybe he just needs covers for his.
Either that or he's just a really kinky, sick bastard. Either way, it's really saddening. I'm sure that everybody watching would agree with that. I mean, Boyd is a staple member of the band. He used to be. Yeah, he was the last guy brought in from the original group to kind of fill in on Trippin' Billy's, and ended up being a part of the whole machine. And it's a signature look, a signature sound that they have with him. And so basically, what happens, this Boyd gives this guy some lavish gifts, got him tickets to, I think it was like the Outlands Music Festival or one of those music festivals. Got him tickets to a Giants-Pats game.
Should have been a Red Sox game.
Yeah. Got him tickets to
a Red Sox game.
Red Sox, White Sox. Giants-Pats games, he got tickets for the guy after the guy said he was going to watch it at a bar, and apparently said, now you better suck my D after this.
Like corn cob.
Just some crazy accusations that really make you shake your head, and it's really, like I said before, it's really sad. And I think the worst accusation was that they were recording a late night session in the studio, and this guy happened to pass out on a couch or something, and woke up pretty much to Boyd whacking it while touching his ass and rubbing his leg or something like that. I mean, he's only got two hands, so there can only be one on his junk and one somewhere else. But either way, just disturbing stuff, man. And the timeline's kind of strange. On February 2nd, he was. I believe he was issued some sort of a demand letter. I'm not exactly sure what that means or what that is, but he was issued a demand letter, and that was the day that he took the hiatus from the band, day before the Super Bowl show in Minneapolis. And
do you think it had anything to do with the scandal?
I mean, that's really far-fetched, but I mean, one might think that, but nonetheless, the lawsuit was filed on May 17th, which is funny because prior to that, even on Wednesday, was Boyd's birthday, and the band wished him a happy birthday on their website and everything. There had been that interview that we spoke about on the last episode that Dave had with Vulture.com or whatever it was, and basically, kind of not throwing Boyd under the bus, but being brutally honest and saying there's some days where he's a genius and some days he just was not there. And saying he really wasn't sure what was going to happen with the band. Well, now on Thursday morning, I believe it was, or Friday morning, the band issued a statement saying, though Boyd is no longer a member of the band, we're shocked by these disturbing allegations, and we were previously not aware of them. So basically saying, look, we didn't know it. The guy's not in the band anymore, but even so, we didn't know. And I'm hoping that that's true, that this doesn't turn into some kind of Sandusky Paterno kind of thing. But at the end of the day, it's definitely sad to see him gone. But as we did see over the weekend, the band completely did move on. And, I wouldn't say the word impressed. It's not like they impressed me. They impress me every time they take the stage. Yeah. But I was pleasantly surprised with just how good the band really was. So they did begin the tour in Texas on Friday. Texas.
Yeah, everything's bigger there. That's why I want to move there, so I'm bigger.
Listen, I don't need to get any bigger. I just need to get a little taller.
I would look smaller, actually, because everything's already so much bigger.
I always think of the Pee Wee Herman, the deep in the heart. Anyway, I'm sorry. So we started off the tour on Friday night at the Woodlands, in the Woodlands, Texas, at the Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion. It seems that they usually start out there or around there. So the first thing that we notice is that they opened the show with not only did they open the show with a Come Tomorrow song, they actually opened the show with Come Tomorrow.
Which is smart.
Smart. Nice marketing. We were kind of contemplating, will they play kind of just the songs people are already familiar with until the album comes out? I expected Samurai Cop, possibly like Can't Stop or Idea of You, songs that the fans are familiar with already. And right off the bat, we got something brand new, Come Tomorrow, which is obviously, if you listen to some of the lyrics, a lot of let the children play kind of things, kind of like the children are our future, teach them well, and let them lead.
Whitney.
But nonetheless, it was a very good song. I had one of my buddies tell me that he thought it sounded a little too country, but I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. It's not a fast, upbeat song. It's kind of one of those middle of the rung songs, but it kind of it had a little bit of a
tearjerker.
Yeah. It had a little bit of a beach ball element to it. Like there's one of the little riffs that kind of sounds a little bit like beach ball in the song. But I thought it was a very good song. They broke out Louisiana Bayou after that, which is not something that they have played a whole lot. They used to play the crap out of it. Now it's kind of few and far between, but they did play it at both shows. A couple of the ones that we've been seeing for years, obviously staples of the set, like One Sweet World, What Would You Say, 41, 7. Recently is not so often played, but it's not like it's such a far-fetched song for them to do. But always great. Satellite, and then Lying in the Hands of God. I know that's a particularly...
I've been there.
Yeah, listen. We've all been there at some point. Lying in the Hands of God is always a great song. One of my favorites from Big Whiskey. But the star of this part of the show at this point was... in the jam that they do, which was actually a little bit of a condensed version. They kind of had this like set beat that they were doing, but Dave did the tease. I don't know if you want to call it tease because he did it for a little bit, but he did the American Baby intro in Lying in the Hands of God, which I thought was really cool. American Baby intro, obviously, hardcore fans love it, and it's always a welcome part of the set. Don't get to see it very often, but when they do play it, it's usually awesome. So it was cool to see Dave do that. We got our Samurai Cop after that. Now, just one little stupid thing, because when it comes to the Dave Matthews Band, the little stupid things are the things that count, especially when I listen to the music. How many different versions of Don't Drink the Water have I heard in my life, But you look for the little nuances.
You still drink the water.
But yes, yet I do. I absolutely do. One of the little nuances, though, in the studio version of Samurai Cop, like the last verse where it's Innocent Kiss, Black Magic Bliss, the drum usually kicks in right after he says Black Magic Bliss, but on the album version it kind of prolongs the crescendo until the chorus. And when they played it live the other night, they did it the way that they've been doing it on tour. I was really happy to see that. Just little things make me happy at this point. Now, speaking of Don't Drink the Water, they played that right after, and it was great. Typical Situation is always awesome live. The jam at the end is one of my favorite things that they do. Pantala Nagapampa into Rapunzel. Pagala Nuts, as my friend Jeff used to call it. Rapunzel's always great. They broke out number 27, which was definitely a surprise. I haven't heard that in a long time, and it's always great.
But they played it at number 15. So.
They did. They played number 27 at number 15
confused.
and number 41 at 5. We got another new one. Now this is one of the ones that the fans are a little more familiar with, even though it was only played a few times acoustic. Do You Remember? From the Come Tomorrow. Now, I really enjoyed this. It didn't veer far off from the acoustic versions. It just kind of enhanced it. But I think it's a really fun little song. I think the beat is really cool, and I think it's a good song. And I like the way that the band, is in it. I don't know what else
I like
to say
how
there.
they play that song.
I like the way they sounded.
Yes.
Crush, and then What You Are, which is always a crowd pleaser. I figured that would be the end of the set. Usually when they play What You Are, that's kind of like a set closer or an encore song. And then they broke out Stand Up, which is something that we haven't heard in a long time. I think the last time I saw it was like, I don't know, maybe 2007 or 8, or I think it was the Stand Up for Cancer show at MSG or something. I don't remember, but haven't seen it in a long time nonetheless. And they broke out. I don't even know the name of the song. It's one of those like old songs your parents played on the radio a million times, but a little interpolation of that. And then the encore, they came out and did You and Me in Gray Street. So the big question is, how did they sound without Boyd?
Yeah.
And
Good.
Yes, they did. They
good.
sounded awesome. A lot of fans were wondering, will they ever play Nancy's again? Can they play Tripping Billy's? Can they play, some of these songs that Boyd was real heavy in? And the answer is clearly yes. And I feel like, especially after we talk about night 2, that they came out not only playing ridiculous with a lot of energy, but almost like with something to prove. You don't think we can do this without him? We're going to show you that we can.
You just stare at everybody.
Yeah. Do you think we can do it? Do you think? Yeah. But they really did. I mean, night 1 they had tons of energy. Dave was obviously all over the place. Carter. There's not much more you can say. If you're a fan of the band, I don't really have to say a whole lot about Carter. You kind of sit there in awe and just watch the dude do his thing, and it really is crazy. There was a moment where I was kind of watching the show and Dave was introducing the band, and I'm realizing that there's only 3 guys left from the original 5, and that was kind of strange. You lose one more and it basically becomes Dave and Friends again. But nonetheless, they were awesome. I thought that the fills that they did, a lot of Rashawn and Jeff filling in kind of in some of the spots that Boyd would have normally done. Some Tim in there. Buddy Strong, I thought, was awesome. Buddy was strong.
What a name.
Buddy was strong. Yeah, man, listen, the guy came in seamless. He's got a real funky vibe to him. He didn't overpower like some of the old Butch stuff kind of was. He kind of just melded in and did his thing, and really added a nice sound to the band. So I thought it was really good. So night 1 was great. I watched it on Periscope, which seems to be great. I just want to take a minute to thank all the traders, the tapers,
the traders.
The traders. They do a lot of craft beer trading too.
I thought you meant trader, like against the country.
Oh, the
traders,
rebellion.
Traders.
The tapers who do their thing and they put out all the videos and stand there for 3 hours with their phones so that other people can watch the show. Kyle Hanville is somebody that I watch all his videos whenever he does it, and
it's tough to put your hand down after that.
I don't know how they do it for that period of time, and they do it, and they also comment. I mean, there's comments coming down the whole time. I tend to hide the chat after a while because I really don't need to see it all, and I'd rather just watch the music. But guys like Jason Stessel, Chester Copperpot, who puts up tons of videos, and the fans of this band are unlike fans of any other band, as we well know. Yeah. So the second night, and I happen to have two buddies who were at the show.
Not us.
No. And one of the reports I got from one of my buddies was that it was probably the hottest show he's ever been in. It was just muggy. He said he was sweating more than Dave was. That he was in the pit near the front, and it was excruciatingly hot and muggy in there.
Filling up with water.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but nonetheless, listen, that's what you sign up for. I can't tell you how many Dave shows, including Two Step in the Rain at Giant Stadium in 2001, that have gotten wet, and just you gotta do what you gotta do. But nonetheless, so they opened again with another "Come Tomorrow" song at the Dos Equis Pavilion in Dallas, and that was "Do You Remember?" So we got a repeat already, but again, same state, different venue, so it's really not the same. It's not like they're playing 2 nights in the same venue and doing some repeats.
Yeah.
They only did a few. And right off the bat, boom, they break out the best of what's around. Always a crowd pleaser, not something they play all that often. One of your favorite songs came next, which was Crash Into Me. Yeah. And then definitely pleasing my buddy who was in attendance, and probably everybody else who was there and watching, was You Never Know, which is obviously a song off Busted Stuff that is just awesome. One of the last true kind of like old school kind of songs that the band did and recorded. This was back in 2002, so always a great song to hear. Funny the Way It Is, another great one. Steady As We Go, I mean, it's cool to see it. I've seen it before. It's not something that I'm going... This would probably be where I went to take a piss. I do love the song. It's just not, I don't know. When you're at a show, it's a little bit of a downer. There's only a handful of songs that I feel that way about. Not that I would boo if they played it. It's just, there's other things I think they could play that would probably be...
just be like, ants marching.
Yeah, the whole time, right?
Ants marching.
Well, you'll get your wish later on. Then, surprising to me, they did Nancy's into Warehouse. And they actually did they did an amazing job with it. They really did. Boyd is a huge part of, obviously, Dancing Nancy's and Warehouse. And they did an amazing job filling in. Space Between and was number 9. And then at number 10, they did a new song called She, which was actually real funky. It was another really good song, another debut. So they gave you a few debuts of songs that you had not heard from the album yet. So it brings the total up to like 11 songs that we know now, which is kind of cool. So there's not really much left to figure out as far as the album goes. But they did another version of Bayou after that, and Samurai Cop, so 2 repeats. Minarets, and then Why I Am, song that Jane likes. Always quick, but it's always great. He's got a little sister named Jane, and that's the song that she likes. Don't Drink the Water and Stand Up, a couple more repeats. And then Ants Marching, which they had done at the Super Bowl show. Yes. And I didn't think sounded all that great, to be honest. But again, they had one day to prepare for Life Without Boyd. Now they've had some more time. They've got Buddy. And I thought Ants was awesome. I mean, every guy in the band, sans Dave and Carter pretty much, but every guy had a solo near the end in the solo that Boyd usually does. And Boyd usually tears it up, but every guy, Jeff, Rashawn, Tim, Buddy, they all got a chance to shine and do a little something here. And I thought it was a perfect way to kind of to do the song. And it really came out well. I think it was well received by the fans. My buddy who was in attendance said it was an amazing version, and everybody was going crazy there. So then they left the stage, and in the encore they did Granny, Crush Again, and then they did a song which I didn't think they were going to do, to be honest with you, for a little while at least, and that's Tripping Billies. That song is predicated on Boyd. It's the reason Boyd was in the band.
It's one of your favorites,
right?
It
is one of my favorites. I know it's not like... it's not a deep track or anything like that, but there's something about it when I saw it for the first time, and then when I went to Woodstock 99 and the version that, I've watched that DVD and VHS version 100 times, man. I mean, a million times. To the point where I can whistle the entire solo perfectly.
Do it!
No.
Pretty good.
But... but it's just one of those moments where, after he says, check him out, Boyd, and Boyd goes on this like 3-4 minute just ripping violin solo. It's one of those moments where you just sit and watch, and it's the band in their element. And, so I was kind of wondering what that was going to be. I was even sitting there going, what is he going to say instead of check him out, Boyd? So those are the little stupid things that guys like me, think about.
What did he say?
Well, what did he say? Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what he did. And, and Jeff Coffin took the reins for the solo, and it was great. And I'll be honest with you, it's not, Trippin' Billies is one of my favorite songs because of that solo. And it just wasn't the same. However, no fault of theirs, it was a great version. It's just that's when I think of that song, I think of the violin. And but I'll get used to it. I think overall, though, the band killed it. Their energy level was through the roof. They were having fun. And these are things that you can always say. But, after Dave's interview, I was kind of like, where do they stand? Like, is this going to disband after this? He seems to want to do some other projects and kind of be more low key. And I didn't get that vibe at all watching these shows on Periscope. And again, thank you to the guys who stream it for guys like me who are sitting all the way across the country here in Connecticut.
You told them where we are.
Oh, shh! I mean Delaware.
Yeah. Do they usually do like a few? Like, is there like an average number of encores they usually do? Because you've seen so many shows.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, 95%, 97% of the time they do one encore with usually 2 to 3 songs. On a rare occasion, they do a second encore. A very rare occasion, or a fourth song. Most of the times, it's if they're running late on curfew. I've seen them do 1 song in an encore, but I've also seen them do 4 songs in an encore. So it really depends. But I'd say on average, you're going to get like probably about 17 to 18 songs in the regular set, and then on average 2 songs in the encore. I've seen a lot of shows. I've seen a lot of shows that have been released on DVD. I've been to so many shows that. I've seen tons of guys. I mean, I've seen Santana. I've seen Warren Haynes. I've seen them play with Neil Young. I've seen them play with Trey from Phish, Eric Krasno. I mean, the list goes on and on of the guys that I've seen. Robert Randolph 100 times. Ben Harper. Just tons and tons of different dudes play with them. And, it's always great when they have guests. But I don't know. I think that they did a really good job. I think Buddy Strong fit in pretty well. He's going to do really well, and it can only get better as the tour goes on. The sets will get a little different, but it was nice to see them break out some songs like like if you go down the list, Lying in the Hands of God, Typical Situation, number 27, What You Are, even Stand Up. I think it's a good song, and they did a really good job. Dave was going crazy during Stand Up, so I think that he enjoyed playing it too. It's not something they do often. You Never Know, Best of What's Around, those are always great to hear. So first 2 shows I would call a success. Their next show, where is it? I think it's actually in Austin, Texas, coming up this week, and they got a couple coming up, and then they'll start heading over towards the East Coast. But yeah, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think of all the Boyd stuff that happened?
I think I'm wearing sandals from now on. No more socks.
No more socks.
No more socks for me. I can't do it.
It's so funny. I mean, when I went to see them in New Haven, see Crystal Garden in New Haven, just because I knew Boyd was going to be there, and the place that they played was called Toad's Place, famous place in New Haven, really dingy, dirty, old kind of spot, like the bars I used to go to when I was underage, and it was great. I mean, I was literally like nuts on the stage, that close. And Boyd tore it up with them for a few minutes, and he left the stage. And I had to endure the rest of the band for a while, and then Boyd came back out. He did a so-so version of True Reflections, but at least I know the words to it. And afterwards, he came in and got to meet everybody that waited for him. He gave me a big hug. Now I know why. Although he does like lean young men, and I'm neither. So whatever. But thanks, Boyd. Took a picture with me, signed some stuff for me. Could not have been cooler. And I bought a frame recently to have this picture framed and put the ticket in there. And now I just can't unless he gets expunged of all of this crap.
Yeah.
It's one of those. Even one of my buddies is like, I don't know if I could listen to their old stuff anymore. I'm like, that's a little harsh. I mean, but nonetheless, a very disappointing and uplifting weekend at the same time, with all the news about Boyd kind of sucking the life out of you, but then the band coming out and doing what they did and what they always do and will continue to do, really kind of lighten the mood a little bit. But I'm sure we're not done hearing about all this stuff.
Probably not. I mean, there's probably like, a 0% chance he's ever coming back?
Listen, I mean, the band did not come out and said that he was not in the band anymore until... listen, they were like, F this, man. We're not even, listen, look, the guy's no longer in the band, but we're shocked we had no idea about this. They're not even giving him a chance to, say his piece. And actually, something I did not mention before is that I think today I read the article that Boyd actually finally did respond, saying that the allegations are false and that it's been very embarrassing to his family, his friends, his band, and his fans. And that he will fight to clear his name, but a lot of damage has been done. It definitely has. One of the things that he said that was kind of weird is that I wish people would have contacted me to get the truth first. Well, from all the accounts I read, in every single article I read, it said, we've reached out to Boyd Tinsley and his camp and we've gotten no response. Yeah. Well, there was your chance to immediately respond. But it definitely seems kind of funny that, this guy, Andrew Rothenberg's story kind of
Corroborates.
with the story of James Frost-Wynn. It reminds me of when that news about Derek Jeter came out, how he was kind of luring women into an apartment in the city and giving them gifts.
I didn't hear about that.
Oh, Derek Jeter, he would kind of meet women and kind of send a car for them, have them brought to his house. He'd open the door and invite them in. They would do their thing, and he would give them a gift bag full of signed memorabilia and stuff afterwards, so that nobody could claim that he did something wrong. Why would you accept a gift from somebody who just, let's say, raped you or whatever? So that was a story that I heard from a buddy of mine 15 years ago while he was in college, because a friend of his had a girl that he knew had been one of these girls. And then like 3 or 4 years ago, an actual story came out where this was the case, and I couldn't believe it, because I wasn't sure if I really believed it at first either. But I feel like this could go one of two ways. It can disappear like the accusations did in 2015, or it'll be like, this Larry Nassar kind of thing, where all of a sudden like, people are just coming out of the woodwork. This was a guy who was in a band Boyd created. This was a guy who was homeless. He was a guy who Boyd showered with gifts. Why would you want to ruin that unless, the guy quit the band. I mean, he had nothing else, and he was forced to quit the band because he just was made to feel so uncomfortable. Again, maybe the guy just said, screw this, I don't want to do this anymore. He's like, maybe how else can I get $9 million? You really don't know. But for me, the stories kind of sound so eerily similar that I don't know, man.
It's almost like so crazy, like what, like you would make this up, like if you were trying to, it's kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe the guy's piggybacking off of the other story. We don't know. I would love to think that. I really would love to say, oh, there's no way Boyd did this. But you know what, man? I mean, I really don't know, and I think that's how a lot of people feel. Like there's a lot of people who are just kind of mixed on it. Like it's not like right now it's like, yes, Boyd absolutely did this. He's been convicted of it. But sure as hell, more than half the people who know this story are already screw Boyd. I mean, there's got to be something to it. Two different people now have come out and accused him of this. So, I wish the best for him, unless he actually did some of these things. I mean, and again. Maybe it could be worse unless we start hearing that they were younger kids or young adults that were not of age. I mean, it sounds like everybody has been of age. He's just kind of been a creepy bastard. Maybe, hopefully, things don't come out that are worse than that. And that really, my biggest fear, listen, Boyd not being there sucks enough. But my biggest fear is that something comes out where somebody in the band knew or anything like that, and it takes the entire thing down. That is the biggest fear that I have, because, again, these are guys, especially Dave, who do so much for their communities, for the world in general, stand up for causes that are meaningful and that mean something to them. And, it's just very out of character. But, again, we don't know these people personally. We like to think we do because we love their music and we've been following them for so long. But at the end of the day, I don't know any of them personally. I don't know, I don't know their birthdays. I don't know any of that kind of stuff. I love their music, and I know their music, and I know that kind of stuff. But we just hope for the best, and we hope that everything turns out well for not only Boyd, but for the rest of the guys, too, and that they continue to do what they do for long periods of time and give us something to BS about to you guys and give you something to rag on us about. So looking forward to the rest of the tour. Again, won't be seeing a show probably for about another month, until they come here to Hartford and Mansfield, Massachusetts, and come do this leg. I'd love to go to Guilford, New Hampshire. I've heard from a buddy that their venue up there is awesome. I'd love to go to SPAC. So probably got like 3 or 4 shows lined up for the summer. I cannot wait to see them. What about you, Mr. Chew? What do you say?
Yeah, I would love to see them if I have the time. But, till then.
Kids.
God
damn kids.
There's a Star Wars movie coming out that I might see. But, yeah.
Hey, listen, man. Dave supersedes everything. It's Dave, man. It's Dave, and this, you get that. Even watching the videos on Periscope, the lights go down, and those guys walk out there, and I'm sitting there waiting for them to play the next song like I'm there, and I put my headphones on. I'm just kind of watching it on my phone, and I just get taken away for 3 hours. There's nothing like it in the world, and there never will be. So that's why they can't go away. So, Dave, I know you got your hands up right now. If you hear me, don't go anywhere. Continue to do what you're going to do, right? Okay. Put your hands up if you agree. Perfect.
I saw his mouth move.
That would be creepy.
Yes.
Creepier than dirty socks. Anyway, I think that's all that we got for this week. We'll come back to you next week and discuss, see what the band does the rest of the week here, continuing in the first leg of their summer tour, and we'll see how they play in Austin and a couple of shows after that by the time, I guess, we see you next. So hopefully we have some more news about Boyd, or maybe hopefully not.
Yeah.
But either way, we thank you for watching. Please follow us. What is our Twitter handle?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Come get some pod.
At Come Get Some Pod.
Yeah.
Look for us wherever you could find us, or try to stay away from us, whatever floats your boat. But we appreciate you watching. Come Get Some, and eat, drink, and be merry, folks. Take care.